Hello and welcome to Friday's bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I get to do just that and have a go at the Times Cryptic crossword today, which the snitch rating suggests is a little easier than usual, which is extremely rare for a Friday. Let's just click the statistics and see if we can see it's ludicrous times at the top. These are typists. Moan is not a typist. Although some of the times that Moan puts in would make you think he must be a typist because they are so fast. 4 minutes. Jason James 5 minutes. Misty Gris is real 6 minutes. So yeah, there's clearly some very, very quick times there. But I don't think I've got any news for you today. I'm trying to think about that. Just an appeal. If you do enjoy these cryptic crossword videos, or indeed any of our videos, please think about dropping a like. Apparently that helps with the algorithm, and we would be most grateful. Anyway, let's get cracking and have a go. Oh, have I got my... Yes, I've got the dictionary. Let me just check. Yeah, okay. Because we're going to have to look some things up, I've no doubt. Although I won't look anything up until I've locked in an answer. Here we go. Let's get cracking. Right, one across. Nurse takes day in country. That's Maverick. Maverick has taken off. How long has that taken? 1 minute 20 seconds. It's extraordinary. It's a very nice day today. I can imagine flying would be pleasant, or as pleasant as it can be. But sorry, there's about to be aeroplane noise. Okay, anyway, let me just think about this. Nurse takes day in country. Right, I have got this. Although the way I got it feels a bit lucky to me. So the way I got this is by thinking about the word day. Remember that these cryptic clues can always be viewed a bit like mathematical equations. So there's going to be a definition in the clue, which is almost always at the start or the end. So we can think of that as being the result of the equation that equals, if you like. And then there's going to be wordplay, which tells you how to construct the answer. Now, nurse takes day in country. The problem here is that you could read that cryptically in two ways. You could think that could be a short word for a nurse that surrounds either an abbreviation for day, which could actually be D. D is a valid abbreviation of day. Let me just show you that. That was my first thought, was that we were putting D in something. Day, there it is. So that's possible, but also, of course, short synonyms for days. If you were looking at a camera, you would see mon for Monday, wouldn't you? TUE for Tuesday, wed for Wednesday, etc. So it could be one of those. Or you could read this as day in country. So think of a 5-letter word for a country, perhaps, and put a D in the middle. But the clue here really is the word takes, because could takes do the duty of equals in this clue? Could we say that a 6-letter word for a nurse equals an abbreviation for day in a word for country? And the answer is no, because takes does not mean equals. So the only real meaning of the word takes here must be nurse taking, imbibing, surrounding, an abbreviation for a day in can do the duty of equals, because these things we do in a word for country. So we're looking for a 6-letter country, or it could be a word that means country or countryside. And the way to think about it then is to just shuffle through in your mind the possible abbreviations for day. D, mon, chu, wed, etc. And one of those you might suddenly think, oh, if I put that, so if you think of wed, for example, if we put wed in a word, can we construct a country? Well, how about Sweden? And sen is a word for a nurse, and that is the answer. So I've taken a long time explaining that. I hope that's worth me doing, because it's just all about that word takes, if you like. That tells you, or gives you a very big clue as to which side of the clue is the definition, and that's often the whole key to solving these puzzles. So let's look at one down. Duty. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, I'll tell you why in a moment. Duty of music maker to carry article in case. Now, I don't know what this is yet, but when I see duty, I'm not thinking of duty as in an onus or an obligation. I'm thinking of a tax. And look, this is 5.3, so could this be something like stamp tax or something? Music maker, sax. Okay, so it is going to end in as in saxophone. To carry article in case. So let's try and deconstruct it. So we're making a word for a duty out of, and that's what the of is doing. So the of is acting as the equal sign in this clue. Music maker, sax, which is carrying a word for an article in case, which suggests I'm just going to put stamp tax in and let me just think about this. How could that be? I don't think that is right. So what sort of tax is it if it's not stamp tax? Still stamp duty. Share? Don't like that very much. Article in cryptic crosswords is very often a, as in the indefinite article in speech, or an, or sometimes the, being the definite article. But the doesn't look good here, does it? So it feels like we're going to put a or an in the middle of something. And a case ending in... If that's right, we need a word for a case ending in T. In case... Not sure. I'm not sure about that. But let's come back to it. 2 down. Travel to away match as intended. Travel to away match. Oh, that's actually brilliant. Okay, fair play. I absolutely love clues like this because everything I've told you to this point in the video can be thrown out of the window, and it's not my fault. But there are I suppose there are 2 types of clue, 2 or 3 types of clue where the definition is not at the start or the end of the clue. And one of those types of clue is the so-called cryptic definition, where you have to read the whole clue in a really weird way. And it's telling, it's defining the answer. But the clue, when you read this, you obviously think, oh, I'm thinking about travelling to a football match, travelling to an away match as intended, as you meant to do. But we have to not read it like that. The word, the clue absolutely defines the answer. But we have to throw away our expectations, which are all based around away matches being, some sort of sporting thing. Now, I mean, I'm going to have to just tell you the answer here, I think. Or I'll tell you how to think about the clue. What about if we read the word... If somebody was a good match for somebody, what would we be saying? That they would be good as a couple. So if you were going to travel or go away as a couple, and one of the couple and you were intended, what does intended mean in the context of couples? Well, it means that you're engaged to be married. So if you travel to an away match to get married, you would elope. Isn't that beautiful? I really love that, because it's just, again, this is a fabulous example of the ability of English to just do pure magic. That is just I mean, you could view that clue as just a straight definition. It takes a bit to work out why it's a straight definition. Anyway, let's have a look. 3 down. Seen inside sheltering with female. Seen inside sheltering. I don't know what that is. I have got that. This is absolutely brutal. Okay. This is absolutely brutal. So again, we have to read this as an equation. Now, I am in no doubt that what I'm about to explain now will seem absolutely bonkers. But if we know that one side of the clue here is the definition, let's read the clue again. So seen, inside, comma, sheltering with female. How can we work out which side of the clue is the definition? And it's really difficult, especially if you happen to know that female can be abbreviated to F, because that is not going to help you here. Sorry, Maverick seems to be doing loop the loops outside. There, female. So we might be thinking, and indeed I did think, there could be an F in this. Maybe it's elf, I thought. It's not elf. Actually, the definition here is female. Now, often if you get a definition of female, you're looking for a girl's name. But here, we're not even looking for that. We're actually looking for a female animal. And the way the clue works is we have to take the inside of the word seen. So that's two E's, the two E's in the middle of the word seen. And that needs to shelter an abbreviation for with. And believe it or not, with can be W. Let's go and find that in the dictionary. Always has to be in the dictionary to be used as an abbreviation. There it is. And if we put W in double E, we get U, which is female sheep. And yes, that is absolutely ludicrous, but that is how that clue works. 10 across. John noticed. John. It could be a lavatory, couldn't it? I'm thinking, I don't know. John noticed detective has unfinished business, loose ends, presumably. Now that works very well. John is a Lou. Noticed, I haven't quite worked out the rest of this. Oh, noticed seen. And detective sergeant for detective inspector, DS there. Unfinished business, loose ends. So what is this then? Duty, it is a... Oh, come on, Simon. How could I not get this? Duty. It's not an income tax. It's not a capital gains tax. It's a... Oh, this is so embarrassing. Oh, it's a sales tax. Oh, that is quite hard, actually. Okay. It's a sales tax. Right. So... I had thought of lest for case, but I was thinking lest was in case. But I see how the clue works now. Right, this is very clever setting again. Right, so we were on the right line, sort of. We do have to put sacks around the outside of something. It's carrying. But article in case was making me think that you had to put a word for an article inside a word for a case. But it's not that. What it is an article, the indefinite article, which is a, and then a word which means in case, lest, L-E-S-T. It's a bit of an older word, isn't it? Lest you did this, I would do that. Lest conjunction, for fear that, so that not. So, yeah. Okay, so that's how that works, and sales tax obviously being a type of tax. So now we can probably do 12 across, so we can at least have a go at it. State one's earlier blunders. State one's earlier blunders. Is this an anagram? One's earlier seems to be 11 letters. Oh, and that would give us Sierra Leone, which is a state. Yeah, okay. Right, very nice. It is a very nice clue, isn't it? And I think the really clever thing about a good anagram clue is when it's not immediately obvious that it's an anagram. So here I read the clue and my sort of anagram alarm wasn't going off in my head. It was only once I was like, I don't understand how the clue works. What could it be? That I had the thought, maybe it's an anagram. Whereas there'll probably be another example in the puzzle. I mean, actually, I will do a very quick scan of the clues, because often I can just see anagrams just from the weirdities of letter. Right, 6 down, naughty terrier salt. I mean, the words terrier and salt in my brain, they jar. They just do not feel right together. So I think that the constructor must have put those together for a very specific reason, normally an anagram. And then you look, it's 11-letter clue. Terrier and salt are 11 letters. Naughty could be saying, you know, treat those letters in a naughty way, anagram them. So where is it? 6 down. Let's see if we can do it. So it means of the earth, and it's going to be terrestrial. So isn't that interesting? So it sort of goes to show that I think that the Sierra Leone clue is really a very good anagram. The 6 down one, naughty terrier, salt of the earth. It's still a nice clue. It's well phrased and everything, but it's easier to spot than the Sierra Leone one. Let's try that one. 9 down. Nude, unclad. Uncle, relative, scratches bottom on trailer. Yeah, okay, so uncle normally has an E at the end of it, but if we scratch its bottom letter, it's a down clue, so it does have a bottom letter. That we'd scratch the E out of it, and we put it on a word for a trailer. Well, a trailer is an ad, as in an advert, and that gives unclad. Let's try 15 across. Idiot, needs help to trap bird. Idiot is an ass, maybe? Or help could be aid. Idiot. Airhead. That's lovely. That's lovely because the bird there is a slightly unusual one, the rhea. So here, it's interesting, isn't it? Needs is doing the duty of equals in this clue. So if we treat it again as an equation, we've got idiot equals help, a word for help, trapping, surrounding, a word for a bird. Now you might say, well, how does needs mean equals? But the way that the constructor is using it there is saying a word for an idiot needs a word for help to trap a word for a bird. So I think it does work. And let's look up the rhea. Is rhea flightless? I think it is. There we go. A small flightless South American bird of the genus rhea, resembling the ostrich. Oh, and also, with capitals, the 5th satellite of Saturn. I didn't know that, so that's a nice secondary definition. It also means Rami, whatever Rami means. Let's have a look at that. That's a plant of the nettle family, in case you didn't know. So let's have a look at 13 down. Meant to be involved. So I'm immediately thinking, if we involve, if we treat, you know, if we treat the letters of meant in an involved way, we might anagram them. Well, meant to be involved with recent. Well, meant and recent together gives us 11 letters. So I'm thinking this is an anagram of those letters now. Portrayal, reenactment or something, isn't it? Portrayal of a historical event. Reenactment. 16 down. Wet weather, rain, coming endlessly, covered by press. Wet weather's coming, endlessly covered by press. Rain. I don't know this. I thought it might be a word for coming, like advent. Inside a word for press, and it might mean wet weather. I was thinking of like rain cloud and things, but I don't think it is that. I don't know what it is. Shall we try? We could try this one. Let's look at this one. Around lake. That could be L, by the way, so that could be that L there. Barry sits in mobile. Well, Barry sits in mobile. If we read it, if we cut it off after the word mobile, then mobile could be an anagram indicator. Because if the letters Barry sits in are treated are mobile, they would be jiggling about. And Barry sits in, oh no, okay, that's not the right number of letters though, is it? Because we have to put Barry sits in around L, and I think then we get 12 letters, which is not 11. Around lake, Barry sits in mobile home, the most prominent in field. Okay, now I'm now drawing a blank on that one. Let's try 22 down. It would be useful. Throw my shilling up, making representation or representation. Throw my shilling up. I don't know what this is. I'll tell you the thoughts I'm going through. Shilling can be abbreviated to S. The word my is interesting in cryptic crosswords because if you said, oh my, to somebody, it would be sort of an exclamation. And sometimes you might see my being used as synonymous with a word like core, as in core blimey. So if you go my goodness, you'd be going core. So my and core I quite like. And then short synonyms for throw, well, you can think of toss, I suppose, but the one I'm thinking of is lob. So I'm wondering about, I'm playing with those letters in my mind. I can't see how it's going to work. No, I'm not sure. Let's try 23 across. Peers initially ignored vote. Well, okay. I mean, I think this is going to be a word for peers, but peers is funny, isn't it? Because it could mean nobles or it could mean looks, and we're going to ignore the initial letter of that word. And then that's going to leave us with a 3-letter word, which means vote. But the interesting thing here is, why is there a question mark? And a question mark often in a cryptic crossword clue will indicate it does mean vote, but in a slightly quirky way. I'm not even sure what that could mean in the context of this answer, which I haven't had any good ideas about yet. I mean, peers could be House of Lords or Lords or Earls, Barons. I'm trying to think of the short dukes. Okay, no, it's peers as in, if you look at somebody, you eye them. E-Y-E-S. And if we ignore the initial letter of eyes, we would just get left with yes, wouldn't we? And I suppose a vote might be yes. Although normally in a voting context, if you were voting yes, you would say aye or nay, wouldn't you? But I can see that is valid. Okay, now that gives us a Y in this, which I wasn't expecting. Okay, it's symbol. Right, so my here. This is rotten. Oh, hang on. I just need to read that. Okay, hopefully that's all right. Good grief. That's the most extraordinary text message I've just been sent. Anyway, 22 down. Throw my shilling up. Right, so my here is not core. It's just literally the word my. So shilling is S. Boom. My. So my shilling is being thrown up along with lob, which was the thing we were looking for, and that gives symbol, which is a representation. So I'm sure some of you actually will have got that. You see, that's poor, isn't it? Because I basically had all the building blocks. I just didn't associate my with being plain text. I was trying to use core in the middle, but if my brain had been a bit more supple, it would have got that instantly. But it wasn't. Naughty brain. So what's this? Booze, black slimy stuff. Found in, so B for black, slimy stuff is ooze, and then found in drink, in being doing the duty of, or found in being doing the duty of equals in this clue. So rainstorm would now be. Let's just put that in and see if we can justify it. Rainstorm. In store. If something's in store, it's coming. And to press is to ram. That's very nice. So coming is in store, which would normally end in an E, obviously. But that's treated endlessly. So chop off the E and cover that. Put it inside a word for press, ram. We get rainstorm, which is certainly wet weather. 29. Lime tree. It probably is lime tree, species that bears fruit. Just over 3 feet in length. European species. I'm going to put lime tree in and we'll see if we can justify it. Just over 3 feet in length. Meter. A meter is just over 3. Yeah, okay, so I think that's right, isn't it? So 1 metre, which would be I can do the duty of 1, as in Roman numerals, for example. 1 metre, so that's just over 3 feet. That goes in L, which is an abbreviation for length, E, which is an abbreviation for European, to give us a species that bears fruit, a lime tree. Right, let's try 19 across. Broadside from craft protecting island. Broadside. So again, in terms of how we're going to break this clue into a mathematical equation, it seems to me, I haven't got it yet, but it seems to me we need broadside is going to be the answer, because we're getting a word for broadside from some other stuff that we've got to do. So from is the equal sign. Craft protecting island. So we need a word for craft, and that's going to surround, it's going to protect, cosset, a word for an island. Now, island's an interesting one, because island could just be I. That is a valid abbreviation. Again, we look at the abbreviations every week, but they're so important. There we go. Island or isle. But also, there are some short words for islands which could be used. A word like ait, A-I-T, that's a word for an island. There you go, small island. Or man, the Isle of Man. Oh, it won't be in the dictionary, but man could be an island. So, broadside. I mean, if the island was this, then we need a 5-letter word for a craft. Canoe is what? Kayak, canoe. And craft could mean like an art, couldn't it, as well? So I don't want to get too stuck on the idea that it's a vessel. Broadside. Oh, come on, Simon. I haven't got it, sorry. Let's try 20 down. Flame once applied to an explosive device in test. Flame. Oh, I tell you what, flame once. How else could we express that? A flame once is an old flame, and an old flame is your ex. So I'm now thinking it's X something, applied to an explosive device in test. Okay, well, an explosive device is a mine, and that gives examine, which is a test. If you test something, you examine it. So let's go back here then. So broadside is going to be, oh, come on, so tirade, trade, lovely. So I was island, and then trade is a craft, and that gives tirade, which is a broadside. We've looked at that, and I didn't like it, so I'm going to carry on. Evidence of debts. Okay, if you ever see this in a cryptic crossword, it's always IOU or IOUs, evidence of debts. Earlier run-up, without interest. If something's without interest, it's sort of... don't know. So it's going to end like this, I think. Without interest. Invidious or insidious or something. Run up. The run up to something is the sort of eve of it. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it ends in eus. Let's try 28 down. Carry ladder. Well, if tight's ladder, you get a run in them, don't you? If you carry something, do you run? I don't really love that. Not sure. Might be run, but I'm not to carry. If you run an errand, you don't carry. I don't know. I'm not sure. Don't really like run, if that is the answer. I'm not thinking of it in the right way. 25 down. Money from state regularly. Dole, yet too lazy to get up. Wow, okay. So I have got this. Now, we've talked about this in earlier videos. But if you see a word like regularly, evenly, in a cryptic clue, what that often is trying to tell you, trying to say, is take regular letters appearing in a string. Now here, the question is, okay, but which letters are we taking regularly? And the clue is the phrase to get up. This is a down clue, so to get up could indicate reversing something. If something gets up and it's a down string, it would reverse. So how about we take regular letters from yet too lazy, and then those letters get up. And you can see if we take the odd numbered letters, we would get Y, T, O, L, Z. And if you reverse those, you get zloty, which is, of course, currency. I want to say Polish currency, is that right? But anyway, the zloty is definitely a currency, and that's certainly defined by money from state. Now there is a Z in this one. Trailblazer would fit. Well, that must be the answer. I don't know why yet. Let's put trailblazer in. So around lake. Barry. Well, Barry could be Baz, couldn't it? Baz, I think, is a shortened phrase for Barry. Sits in... Oh, a mobile home is a trailer. Okay, so mobile home was not an anagram. It wasn't an anagram indicator at all. So we got trailer around Baz, around L, and that the most prominent person in a field would be the trailblazer. 21 across. Fantasy about unkempt hair absorbs me. Well, I'm wondering if this is chimera. And I think it is. Okay, we'll talk about how I got that in a moment. So, okay, the first part of this clue that intrigued me was unkempt hair, and my thought went to mop. So I was thinking, could I put mop in this string? And that would actually have given me this M in the correct place. But then I saw absorbs me. Now, there are no synonyms. I suppose oneself. Maybe it's a synonym for me. But it's very hard to see how me would be the definition here. So when I see absorbs me, that makes me think, okay, I need something and it's going to take in the word me. So that tells me that the definition in this clue is probably just the word fantasy. And I'm looking for a word that has an I here and then probably an ME string in it. So then, you're having all the right thoughts. And then about, well, if you see about, the difficult thing about is that about could be wordplay indicator, couldn't it? If you put a word for fantasy around a word for unkempt hair, that could have been the correct construction, but that would require the definition to be absorbs me, which is nonsense. So actually about here is C for circa, as in around from the Latin. So we've got C, and then hair, anagrammed, unkempt hair is actually an anagram of hair, absorbing me. So it's not a difficult clue if you're used to how the devious minds of these constructors work. Now, 21 down. From West Coast State. Well, that must be California. Calico. So West Coast State, Cal from California. 1, the Roman numeral for 1. I, firm, company, CO. Calico, which is a type of cloth. So what is incurious? If you're incurious, you're without interest, aren't you? And if you incur something, if you incur a debt, you run it up. So incur followed by IOUs. And this does look like run then. Carry. Not sure. Still not sure. Wild activity with setter. Dog something. Father's lacking. Protein. Oh my goodness. I think this is going to be tricky. I think this is going to be a word for a protein. So I'm thinking, oh, it's enzyme. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I was thinking I wasn't going to know the word. I was thinking wild activity might be an orgy, and I was wondering about a word orgym, but then I was thinking, how could that work? But a wild activity is actually a frenzy. That goes with the setter. Now, the setter of the puzzle is writing about themselves there, so they're saying me. Frenzy me. Now, if father's lacking in that, father can be abbreviated to FR. Oh, it's right there, as in a religious father. So we take the FR out of frenzy and we get left with enzyme, which is a protein. So this is run, as in you ladder your tights, you have a run in them. And carry must be a synonym for run. I'm just failing in my brain to think of how those two things could be, used in sentences and substituted for one another. But that's just my brain being slow. Now, is this lacrosse? Looks like it. Leicestershire's opening. Pair handling over. Let's put lacrosse in. It says game at the end, so it must be right. Leicestershire's opening is L. Pair handling over. Pair handling over. Leicestershire's opening pair. Now I see. So it's not, okay, it wasn't L, it was Leicestershire's opening pair, which is the opening pair of letters in the word Leicestershire, which is L and E. And those L and E handle, which is, I suppose, means encompass in this sense, a word that means over, and that word is across, as in if a bridge goes over a river, it would be going across a river, and that gives us lacrosse, which is a game. So we've done okay, haven't we? We've just got the northeast corner to do. Shall we try 11 across? Used to manage cattle and horses primarily. Ranch? Yeah, I think that's right. So this is good, because this is an example of a clue that doesn't appear very often. Many people consider it the perfect kind of cryptic crossword clue. So I've talked already about clues that almost always have the definition at the start or the end of the word. Well, there is one type of clue, and it's called an and lit clue, where the whole clue is the definition, and the whole clue is also the wordplay. And that's what's happening here. So let's firstly read the clue as a sentence. Used to manage cattle and horses primarily. So we need something that is used to manage those things. And you can see I've written the answer in ranch. That is a fair description of something that would be used to manage cattle and horses primarily. But now let's read it from a wordplay perspective and cut it after the word manage. So used to manage, as in did manage in the past. If you used to manage something, you ran it. So that gives us the word ran. Cattle and horses primarily is saying take the initial letters, the primary letters of the words cattle and horses. So C and H. And that gives you C and H, which gives you ranch. So that's how that one works. Let's try 14. Tooth finally extracted, which is cool. Okay, well, this is not very difficult in my opinion. Can we think of a word that means cool that goes in there? Well, hopefully you might think of fan. If you fan something, you cool it. Now, so we now need to justify that. We need a word for a tooth, fang, and we're going to extract the final letter from that word. So take the G off and we get fan. So not too bad. Now, should we try 4 across? Let's give it a go. Wines, harsh ultimately, trouble with gold filling. Okay, I haven't got this yet, but I'll tell you some of the things I'm thinking. I think that this is going to be a word for a wine. And the reason I think that is the final part of the clue, with gold filling. Now, gold has two common short synonyms stroke abbreviations that you see all the time in cryptic crosswords, always be on the lookout for chemical element abbreviations. So gold is a chemical element. Its chemical symbol in the periodic table is AU. So we could be looking, and we may be looking, I'm not sure, at putting AU in the middle of something. Now the other thing to be aware of is that gold can be OR, because that is a tincture in heraldry, believe it or not. If we go and look it up, we will find, I hope, there we go, OR, the tincture gold or yellow, it says heraldry in the brackets heraldry, indicated in engraving and chiselling by dots. I mean, it is so ludicrous, but it's become very common in cryptic crosswords. So almost certainly we will find that this clue has an OR or an AU in it somewhere. Harsh ultimately makes me think of the ultimate letter of the word harsh. So I'm sort of expecting it to begin with H. Trouble, what's that? Bother? Ado? I'm sorry, I'm not quite seeing that one yet. Have we looked at this one? No, let's try this one. Okay. Escape using muscles, prisoner departs. There's quite a lot going on there. But the whole key to this is muscles, actually. Because I think if you go to the gym, or even if you don't go to the gym, can you think of any short synonyms for any particular type of muscle? So you might have, think of biceps. I suppose guns. You might have guns would be a good sort of synonym for muscles, wouldn't it? Triceps. Well, from a stomach perspective, your abs come up a lot. So abs is what I think is going on there. And now, if using is the equal sign in the clue, so we need a word for escape. That is, we're going to make that word using a word for muscles, abs, a word for a prisoner. There are lots of short synonyms for prisoner. The two common ones are lag and also con. So one of those looks good there. D can be an abbreviation for departs, and if you abscond, you escape. So not difficult if you're familiar with some of the short synonym stuff that goes on in these puzzles. 17 across. Affectionate pooch welcomes time at home. Okay, so again, can we work out which side of the clue is the definition? And the way to work it out here is to see the phrase at home and know that if you're at home, that has a very natural short synonym, which is in. So although this clue could mean at home, the whole 6 letters could mean at home or home, it's very likely that at home is being used to indicate the short synonym in. And if that's the case, which side of the clue is the definition? It's got to be the other side. So it's either affectionate or affectionate pooch. Now, 6-letter words for affectionate pooches doesn't feel right, especially when there is a very natural short synonym for pooch that does begin with D. So that's dog. So what we've got here is dog, welcoming, welcomes, T for time, as in V equals U plus AT, for example, in for at home, and if you are doting, you are affectionate. So is this ring fence? Call on criminal to protect funds in this way. Yeah, I've seen a clue like this. Was there a clue yesterday that was ring fence in the Times or in the quick crossword? It was almost exactly the same. I'm not sure. I feel like I've seen that clue very recently. So call, if you call someone, you ring them. A criminal, a type of criminal, is a fence. And if you ring fence something, you protect funds. There's a lot of talk about ring fencing at the moment in the manifestos for the various political parties for the upcoming UK election. So now if we can get 8 down, we're just going to be left with the wine. More than ever, it needs this gas. Is it ethane or? Yeah, okay, it's hidden. Okay, there's almost always one of these in a Times crossword. It's good if the constructor can conceal them, but you can see there has to be an indication that the answer is hidden in the clue. And how the way this works is it's saying that the phrase more than ever, that phrase, it needs a type of gas to construct it. And it does need a type of gas because spelt out in the middle of it is ethane, ethane. So it's sort of indicated that it's hidden in there. And now, okay, so what is this? Oh, so it looks like, oh no, so turn. I was thinking OR here was the lightly gold. But what about if I put AU there? Then I can create so turn, which is certainly a type of wine. Now, why is this correct? So stern. Okay, so harsh is stern. Ultimately trouble is saying take the ultimate letter in the word trouble, which is this E. And that all has a gold filling, so we put AU in the middle, and that creates the answer. Now, let's just take a quick look. There are no J's or Q's in this, because I'm noticing that there's a Z and YMB here. Looks like there's some strange letters. W. Not C. Oh, there's two Z's, actually. No, I don't see anything. Submit without leaderboard. I wasn't racing. So, hopefully that's right. And yeah, nice puzzle. It's certainly easier than some, but no less, I hope, interesting for those learning to do cryptic puzzles, which I guess is most of you who are still with me at this point. Now, some people do like me to try and race on the quick cryptic, so I will have a go at that. This is where I take it a bit more seriously, try and protect my my statistics. Right, so I will go quite fast. I'll try to go quite fast here, and I won't give much commentary. But let's get cracking on the quick cryptic. One Barking High Street. Some tester. I don't know. Source of oil in southeast, unaltered. Sesame. One Barking. Oh, it's a setter. Bother. Sure, it won't get muddled. It's hard to say. Tongue twister. Anagram. Beginning to see except sunless. 3 down. 1 choosing. E-reader. Elector. Figure lacking a horse mount, yeah. Gate, turnstile. I hope that's right. I've had a bit of a guess at that. Seize coins, toss, splitting. Splitting. It is. I know it's an anagram. I just can't do it. Okay. Ultimately become parody, losing head. Don't know. Regret, holding escape, and save, rescue. Ultimately become, end up, send up. Sorry, maverick. Impenetrable contents of hidden secret. Dense. Something's dense. Can't type. No. What's this one? Conservative faction getting share as payment. Concide ration. Level 11 is a football team, even with L in it. Turnover decisive factor in what's fitting for head. Capsize? Yeah. Oh, so what is this then? Is it secession? I think it probably is. Greek character. Chianti. French city hosting Nice, which I can never spell. Some volumes of books teaching religion. Lit. I think it's liter. And then, okay, what may cover scales? Dessert. That's frozen. I want to say that's scree. Oh, hang on, no. Something's gone wrong there. Something like that. What's going on? Sunday? No. Dessert that's frozen. Or best whipped. What's going on? Oh, sorbet. It's an anagram. Put in shifts almost the whole of marriage nuptial, I think. Ace fellow is a looker. A Don is Jockey Wilson. Goes off seat, second to last. Goes off, don't know. Small, tricky, splinter. Oh, goodness. Insipid, I guess, yeah. Oh dear, so this is going to be bad now. Goes off seat, second to last. Goes off. Addles. Saddle. I'm pleased I got that, actually. Shard. Tricky, if something's tricky, it's hard. Okay. So that was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But we got it done. We came 14th, which is, I mean, how do you do that in 1 minute 26? That is so ludicrous. Mind you, Andy Fisher there, 2 minutes 18. That's a seriously good time. And you could see I was held up on several of them for far too long. Sorbet, I don't know. I didn't see Lita very quickly. Nothing actually felt very good there. Secession, I think, would be a write-in for a lot of people. But I suppose we did it. That's all you can really say. We did it. Did we beat anybody? Tom Stubbs is a good solver, so we did beat Tom. That makes me feel slightly better. But yeah, you can see. I mean, 1 minute 26. How? Just how? That's so sickening. That's so sickening. That's a third of my time, basically. Well, it's not a third of it, but it how? Just how? I'm going to go contemplate that sometime. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy the video, do drop a kind comment. We appreciate that. Or maybe a like, or even a subscribe. That would be most appreciated. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.